Iberian ham is one of the most expensive meats in the world. A leg of this ham can cost up to $4,500, and its production can take up to 5 years. Each leg of Iberian ham goes through a long process before becoming a delicacy. But how is the most expensive ham in the world made? We visited an Acorn-Fed Iberian ham factory to discover how the ham-making process works. Iberian acorn-fed ham is the most expensive in the world. It comes from Spain and is obtained from pigs fed with acorns. Spaniards have found the secret to achieving slices of pork so succulent that they reach the highest prices in the world. Iberian ham comes from the Iberian pig, an uncommon breed with high intramuscular fat content found mainly in Spain. The pig is the king of Spanish gastronomy and the pride of the world's largest producer and consumer of ham. The black Iberian pig descends from the wild boar and has been considered a delicacy long before our time. These animals are distinguished by their small ears, dark color, and prominent snout. They have more fat and develop more marbled meat than other breeds. The ham comes from the pig's hind leg. Most companies also cure the front leg, called the shoulder, and use the rest of the meat for other products, such as chorizo. Everything begins in the pasture lands. Each year, 2,500 Iberian pigs are raised on this farm. The most important period in raising the pig is the season when they feed on acorns, which begins in October and lasts until March. During that time of year, they feed mainly on this fruit. The pigs walk up to 16 kilometers and gorge on up to 9 kilos of acorns per day. The pig's diet and exercise mark its meat with healthy fats and give it a delicious flavor. This is because acorns are full of healthy fatty acids that help reduce cholesterol and protect against cardiovascular disease. These fatty acids also enhance the flavor of the ham. The acorns are responsible for the rich Iberian flavor. Their oils infiltrate the pig's muscles and form the marbling of its meat, which makes the ham melt in the mouth. For a ham to be considered acorn-fed Iberian, each Iberian pig needs between 2 and 4 hectares of land to consume the 9 kilos of acorns per day. The pig spends its entire life freely in the pasture land, and during the season when acorns fall from the trees, which runs from October to February, they feed exclusively on acorns and the fresh grass they find. In this fattening phase, the animal enters weighing about 90 kilos and reaches up to 160 kilos. In this way, by the end of the season, its body mass will have increased by 60%. At 20 weeks, the pig reaches 160 kilos and the raw material is ready. The pigs are slaughtered when they reach 21 months, and farmers are especially careful during their final hours. Stress increases hormone levels and causes a rapid decrease in muscle glycogen, which makes the meat acidic and tasteless. The pigs are taken to slaughterhouses where they are cut up and the hams are obtained. Afterwards comes the profiling phase, which consists of cutting part of the skin and fat in a V shape, the typical cut of ham and shoulder. A highly skilled worker uses a cutting tool to remove excess fat and meat to promote the curing process. The removed fat is used to extract lard. The shaped hams arrive at the factory in refrigerated trucks. They are welcomed by taking their temperature and placing them on this conveyor belt where their particular documentation is added to the leg, an individual traceability tag that allows the unique history of each ham to be known. Next, the hams are transported to a refrigeration chamber until they reach a temperature between 0 and 1 degree Celsius. The hams and shoulders reach the optimal temperature for the salting process, as the salt penetrates the meat better at this temperature. If they are not at that temperature, the salt cannot fulfill its mission of penetrating the meat and eliminating any bacterial formation. The salting process begins. The Iberian ham legs are taken to the salting chamber and submerged in sea salt for almost a week at temperatures close to freezing. This natural preservative encourages the formation of mold while keeping bacteria at bay. The hams and shoulders are buried in salt for 15 to 20 days depending on their weight. A layer of salt is placed on the floor, then a layer of ham, and then another layer of salt. The salt remains on the ham for several days depending on the weight of the piece. If the ham weighs 12 kilos, then it stays 12 days in the salting chambers. The effect is dehydration of the meat and intensification of the flavor. Once the optimal point of salting has been reached, a rope is placed under the hock and the washing process begins. The hams are placed on a belt that passes through rollers that remove the salt, and they are washed with pressurized water. Next, the hams are shaped. To do so, they are placed in a machine that presses them, and then a worker hits the hams. The hams are molded into a racket shape. This forms the rich coat of Iberian fat that wraps and protects the meat. Afterwards, they are taken to the drying chambers for 90 days. When the process starts, the hams enter at 3 degrees and 90% humidity. In the chambers, there is an exchange of humidity and temperature. Machines remove the humidity to maintain optimal conditions. The hams will experience the 4 climatic seasons inside the chambers for their curing, a process in which the ham gradually eliminates moisture from its interior and slowly develops the Iberian texture and aroma. After 3 months, they are taken to the cellar to rest. In this factory, more than 150,000 hams are stored in the curing cellars. The hams rest at a temperature between 14 and 16 degrees so that the fat finishes stabilizing. The color, aroma, and flavor settle definitively, a process that can take up to 3 years. A characteristic mold appears on the ham. This mold helps dry the piece and is beneficial and catalyzes the entire process to obtain the best aromas. If humidity in the chambers is too high, another mold appears, colloquially called cat hair, which forms a fuzz and damages the hams. For curing, temperatures begin to rise to 13 degrees. Then they are moved to another cellar where they will be at 18 degrees, until, after 180 days, they are moved to another cellar where they stabilize and will spend about 2 years undergoing a slow drying process at temperatures between 20 and 25 degrees Celsius. The hams release the moisture inside and can lose up to a kilo. The color of the meat and its outer crust become more intense, a sign that the ham is curing correctly. The ham needs these temperature changes to release aromas and stabilize. After 180 days in the drying chambers, they are coated with lard to protect the area around the bone, which is the most exposed, to prevent the appearance of